Hello guys, today I'm going to show you a wild blitz battle played by Magnus Carlsen against Arkadij Naiditsch back when Carlsen was a rising superstar. This was played in the 2006 Chess Olympiad round 12, and trust me, this game is crazy and the end game is a pure tension. I'll only explain the important key moments of this game, so make sure to watch till the end. I am your host Bison. So game starts with, and this is known as Italian game. Here you can see that here white is targeting the f7 square, and the best way to defend this is d5. Okay, so here most people will play knight to a5, which targets this bishop, and later he will exchange the bishop. But instead, here black goes for b5, targeting this bishop, and this is known as Alvestad variation. And here the best way to continue this game is simply capturing the pawn on d5 by knight, which also creates a discover attack to this knight. But instead, Carlsen made a mistake by playing h6, because now in this position, white can actually sacrifice his knight by knight takes f7. This is because after king takes f7, takes, and now you can see that here white is two pawn ups and this position is completely winning for white. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move h6, here it's better for white to capture on b5, but after bishop takes b5, in this position, black can sacrifice his bishop by bishop takes f2 check. This is because after takes, queen to d4 check, king to e1, queen to h4 check, and obviously you can't play g3 because then black will give a check from e4 square and grab this rook. That's why here white is forced to play king to e2, queen to g4 check, king to e1, queen to h4 check, and clearly you can see that this position is completely equal. That's why after the move bishop to c5, here white knows that if he captured on b5, then this position is completely draw. That's why he chooses a different variation, which is In this position, it's better for black to play queen to d4, targeting this rook. But instead, Carlsen goes for bishop to e8. He wants to play bishop to h5, targeting this queen. Okay, so now in this position, you can see that this bishop is under attack and most of us will retreat our bishop back on h5, but not Carlsen, because here Carlsen sacrificed his bishop by playing rook at a goes to d8, and here white can't capture this bishop. Suppose if white takes on g4, now black will play knight takes g4, and you can see that here black has open f file for the rook, and this and so you can see that this queen is under attack. So that's why the only square left for the queen is e2 square. Okay, so you can see the okay, so now I want you all to guess the next move which black can play in this position. Okay, so let me help you out. In the next move, black wants to play rook to f2, targeting both queen and this knight. But we can't just play rook to f2 right away, because then white will simply capture our knight. So first of all, we need to defend that knight. And the only move to do that is h5. Now we can play rook to f2. But wait, what if white played rook to f1? Asking for rook exchange, but this move will not work for white, because then black will gives a check from d4 square, and after king to h1, rook to f2, and if takes. Okay, so if takes, knight takes f2 check, king to h2, knight to g4 check, king to h3, and queen takes a1, and here black is winning. Okay, so suppose after the move rook to f2, if white didn't capture this rook and instead he decides to move back his queen on e1, guarding the first rank, so here now black will play rook at f goes to d8 with the same idea of queen to b2, targeting this knight, and this position is also winning for black. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move rook at a goes to d8,
Olympiad. Et avec la fleur. Je vois que on
Now it's better for black to play b4, strengthening the pawn structure, but instead Carlsen decides to continue with
Ticket bitte. Wir packen Kalber. Ach ja. Mhm. Mhm. This is.
Okay, so everything was fine till here, but in this position, white blundered by playing king to e2, because now black have to find rook to h3 to win this game. This is because with the idea of rook to h2 check, and suppose if white tries to defend this position by playing knight to f1, stopping the move rook to h2 check, then now comes rook takes e4 check, king to f2, rook to f3 check, king to g1, rook to e2, and you can see that black has a passed pawn towards the g and e file, and this position is completely winning for black. So what is the right move after king to e2? Yeah, sorry, king to f7. So instead of king to e2, what can white play in this position? The correct move is king to g2. This is because to stop the move rook to h3 and then rook to h2 check. Okay, so suppose if black played suppose rook to d4, then simply rook to b2, and you can see that everything is protected and this game is completely equal. But after the move king to e2, Carlsen missed the move rook to h3, and instead he played king to f6. Now again it's important for white to bring his king towards the second rank so that this rook can't enter. But he blunders again and played king to d1, and this is because and you can see that in the next move, black will promote his pawn and this position, Arkadij resign. What an amazing endgame by Carlsen. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. Hit that subscribe button for more because it motivates me a lot. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.